Hi there, in this video I'm going to show you how to restring your acoustic guitar. Now there's a couple of tips that will make this whole process a whole lot easier for you. I'll share all those with you and I'll tell you what kind of tools you need, what kind of strings I use and the kind of strings that I recommend you use as well. And you know, a couple of things like that just to make your job easier when it comes to restringing your acoustic guitar. So what I've done here is I've made like a little makeshift table for myself with my guitar case. Alright, and then I've got a cloth here that I'm just going to put on the back here so that I don't damage the guitar. I mean, it won't get damaged, but I'm just super careful. So, and then I've got another little cloth that I'm just going to put on that side. So there we go. The guitar is nice and sturdy. In front of me, I've got both my hands free, so I can really get in there and just, you know, take care of business and change the strings without, you know, being too uncomfortable. A lot of people kind of put the guitar in between their knees and kind of balance it like that. I also do that from time to time. But at the end of the day, it's not really a very smart strategy. Doing it like this is a whole lot better. Alright, so basically what you want to do is get in the habit of changing your strings regularly. Now, that might mean different things for different people. I mean, if you're a professional guitarist and you're playing a 2-hour gig every night on your acoustic guitar, then changing strings every day is regularly, right? Because after 2 hours of really playing the guitar hard, the strings take a hell of a beating, and it just makes sense to change the strings every time. You know, also if you have a recording session, you want to change the strings before you go and do that. It just makes the guitar sound a whole lot better. Now I know that most people out there probably don't do a 2-hour gig every night. I mean, I certainly don't, and you might not have that many recording sessions either. So then, how often do you need to change your strings then? Well, it all depends on you know, kind of your budget and all those kind of things. But if you use a good set of strings like I recommend, which of course is Elixir strings, then you can get away with changing your strings once every 2 months. You know, you can even stretch it to once every 3 months. And the reason that works like that is because these strings, they're actually coated, all right, and they've got some anti-rust kind of stuff inside the string, so they actually last literally 3 to 5 times longer, like it says in the box here. And because, you know, when you play guitar, our hands aren't that clean, so a lot of dirt kind of gets into the strings. Now because these strings are coated, you don't get those dirt going into the strings, which actually means that the strings will stay they'll sound brighter a whole lot longer than what you do when you just use normal strings. Then also, when you're not playing your guitar, if you put the guitar back in its case or back in its bag, also the strings will last longer then, because then they're not exposed to, you know, a lot of different things like dust and the temperature changes and all those kind of things. So then the strings will also last a little bit longer there. And then every time once you finish playing the guitar, just have a cloth handy, so you can just, you know, give the strings a nice wipe, because then you're just going to make sure that if there was a little bit of sweat on the strings or whatever, you just get all that stuff off there, then your strings will last longer. Alright, so there we go. If you grab a pack of Elixir guitar strings, they're going to last 3 to 5 times longer. Also, they sound amazing, and yeah, these are the strings that I use myself for many years. So if you can, go and grab yourself a pack of Elixirs. Alright, so before we get going, let's just talk about what gauge of strings you need. Well, at the end of the day, I kind of use a light gauge when it comes to the strings, which is 12 to 53. But the important thing here is, if you've had your guitar set up, alright, for, let's say I've had my guitar set up for the 12 gauge strings, which is a light gauge, then I always want to go and put the same gauge of strings on the guitar, because if you put a lighter gauge than what the guitar's been set up, or a heavier gauge, it's just going to mess with the whole, you know, kind of equilibrium of the guitar that people have actually taken time to set it up for you. So make sure you always use the same gauge of strings. Alright, so like I mentioned, there's a couple of tools you need. First of all, a nice cloth, very handy because you can get to wipe all the dust and stuff off the guitar. You're going to need a string winder, just that it'll make the job of winding the strings a whole lot faster. You're going to need some string clippers. Now this is quite a fancy string winder. I can actually clip the strings with that as well, which is pretty handy. And also most string winders comes with a peg remover that I'll show you how to use in a second, to get rid of to remove the pegs at the bridge of the guitar. And then of course you're going to need a tuner, so you can tune your guitar back up once you've finished with that. Alright, so I like to change one string at a time. I know that some guitar techs, they don't mind taking all the strings off and then putting a brand new set of strings on it. Just personally for me, I don't have the skills to kind of, you know, tweak the neck if I need to tweak it again if something goes wrong. So I don't like to take all the strings off, because then if you think all the tension that's been on the guitar, all of a sudden there's no strings pulling no more tension, and then you're putting the strings back on again. You know, just for me, as a more of a safety precaution, I just do one string at a time. Alright, so first of all, you just want to loosen the string here, and of course you can also use a string winder, you know, depending on how far the string has been wound up on the string peg there. Alright, so once the string has been wound loose, you'll be able to get it off the machine head very easily. And what you're going to do then is you just got to get rid of the peg. Well, don't get rid of it, but just take it out. So what I do is I just insert the string winder here, and I pull the peg out, and there we go, the string is out. So then you can just get rid of the string. My string got caught on something here. So, and the peg, put it somewhere safe, because you don't want to lose the peg, right? So I put it right there so I can't lose it. And now I'm going to start by restringing the guitar. So another thing is take all the strings out of the pack, you know, and then get rid of the pack. And I'm going to put them face down so I can start with the thickest string here. Okay, so first things first is you want to get rid of the winding of the string there. And you're going to take the string peg again, and first of all you put the string back into the bridge, the little string hole there, and then you insert the peg, and then pull the string out a little bit, and then keep pressing that peg in, just so that you make sure it's nice and tight in there. Once again, because we're pressing down on the guitar, that's another reason why I'm using that cloth underneath, so I'm not pressing the guitar against the actual case. Right, and then you're going to put the string through the machine head again. Now here's a very important point when you get there, is you need to kind of measure how long the string needs to be. Otherwise you don't want to, you know, start winding the string right from the top of the string, because that's just you're gonna run out of room on your machine head. So what I normally do is I just kind of measure up to the next machine head of the guitar. I'll take that into my hand and fingers like that, and then I put the string through the machine head right up to where I've measured it, and then I start turning the machine head. Now in this case I'm turning counterclockwise, and there's a little trick here. The first time around the string goes above the edge of the string, or the end of the string, and the second time it goes underneath. Okay, and then you just keep winding it underneath the string there like that. Now if you want, you can bend the string upwards a little bit like that, so it gets out of the way. And I'm just keep winding it until it gets tighter and tighter. Okay, now imagine if you had to do this with your hands, that would have taken a long time. Alright, so now the string is not up to tension yet. And the reason I do that is I first want to just push the string peg back into the bridge, because sometimes it can come out a little bit, and as you winding the string it can jump out. Okay, and that's not fun, because then you've already wound the string this side, and then you're going to get the string back into the other side. Alright, so there we go. Now I don't tune this yet, because, you know, by taking all the other strings off, putting them back on, you know, things change a lot, so I'm only going to tune at the end. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a ballpark, you know, tuning going here on the E string. There we go. That's roughly where E should be. And I just, once again, just make sure that that string peg is in nice and easy. And one habit that I've developed over the years is to only clip the strings after I've tuned them. Alright, now once you've wound up the string over the machine head, you can just bend the string upwards a little bit. That once again just adds some more tension of the string on the actual head of the guitar on the machine head, so that that string stays there nice and solid and doesn't slip out, which once again is, of course, is gonna, you know, give you some tuning issues. And you know what, one thing I forgot to show you now, once you've taken the string off, you can take your cloth and just give that area of the guitar a wipe, and then you do the same for each and every string. Now one more thing I'll mention is you can get some stuff from a guitar shop that you can actually clean your fretboard with. You also get some string cleaners. You can use those if you want. I personally haven't used that in a while. I just use a normal cloth, but if your fretboard is quite dirty, go for it, and just give your guitar a wipe. So what I'm going to do now is I'll just change all of the other 5 strings, and then I'll show you how I go about tuning it and clipping the ends of the strings off. Alright, so you might see that I've just loosened all the 3 higher strings together, and the reason for that is because the E, A and D strings, the 3 lower strings, those are the strings that are pulling the most weight on the guitar. So, you know, by loosening all of those, I kind of, you know, just get rid of that one task there that I need to perform just to get the strings off. Now also what you can do now in this case, because the tension has been loosened a little bit, you can just clip the strings. You never want to clip the strings at full tension, because then what happens there, the contrast between the strings pulling at full tension on the neck, and then all of a sudden there's no tension, that's going to be bad news for your guitar. So you don't want to do that. But now that I've done the 3 thicker strings, I can just take care of the, you know, the higher strings and get rid of those excess strings over there. And also what that does, it opens up a little bit of a bigger area of the guitar, so I can just give that a wipe with my cloth. Okay, cool. So now we're going to go for the next string, and I'm just going to put the cloth back on the case there, so the pegs don't roll around. And then I'm just going to replace the last 3 strings. Alright, so there we go. I've just restrung the guitar with a brand new set of strings. All that I need to do now is I need to tune the guitar, and I need to get rid of all these bits and pieces at the end of the strings. Now for that, of course, you're going to need a tuner. Now when it comes to a tuner, I definitely encourage you to get a digital chromatic tuner, because that's going to just be a whole lot more accurate than, you know, kind of other traditional tuning methods. So what I've actually got here is in my iPhone, I've got a tuner. I've actually got 2 tuners in here. One is made by Peterson, which is the Strobosoft, and the other one is made by TC Electronic, which is a Polytune. So I'll give you some links if you want to go and download those apps. They're fantastic. So for these apps, they've got a built-in microphone which you can use if you want. But I've actually got a cable here. Let's get it underneath the case here. I've got a cable with the actual iPhone, you know, whatever you call this, converter, right? So this is also made by Peterson, the same people who make the Strobosoft tuner. So I'm just going to plug this into my guitar. Now, of course, if you don't have a pickup in your guitar, you won't be able to do that. Then you'll just use the microphone for the guitar, which is fine. But I just find that if I plug it in, it's nice and accurate as well. So for me, I'm just going to put the tuner right there where I can see it. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tune the guitar. It looks like I just need to turn up my volume here. Alright, so I've got my volume turned up. And I can just play the E string now. And then just tune it up to pitch. You know, and then I'll just go through all the strings. Now there is I used to have a Ibanez guitar with a Floyd Rose floating tremolo, and there was a kind of a specific method when it came to tuning that thing. But you can use kind of a rendition of that method for tuning your guitar, which is after you've tuned the 6th string, you can go ahead and tune the 1st string. And also once you've tuned it up a little, just to make sure your pegs are still in there so they don't come flying out. Then you tune the A string. And then the B string. Then we got the D string and the G string. Alright, so now I can play a E minor chord like this. And it's kind of, you know, it's roughly in tune. You would have to tune it a couple of times. Now, one thing that you can do is you can just give all the strings a little bit of a stretch like this. Nothing too violent, but just, you know, stretch them a little bit. So they'll actually be able to keep their tuning a lot longer. And after you've stretched them, of course, the tuning will be out again. So then you'll just have to tune it again. Alright, I'm not going to do that now because you probably know how to tune your guitar by now. So all you have left to do now is actually get rid of these strings. Now the reason I've left this for last, it's just an old habit I've learned, and I just kind of think that it's better to get the guitar restrung, tune it, stretch the strings, tune it again, so everything is nice and cool with the guitar, and then you get rid of those bits and pieces at the end. You know, where that actually makes a difference, I don't know for sure. I'll just have to speak to somebody about that who knows more about fixing guitars than I do, which is just about anybody really, because I'm more fond of playing than fixing them. I've actually got two left hands when it comes to handiwork really. Anyway, so there we go. Once you've clipped them off, you can just bend the strings upward a little bit again, just so that it just reinforces the, you know, the weight of the strings right there where you've wound them up, so they don't slip out when it comes to you know, when you're playing the guitar, which of course will affect the tuning. So there we go, that's it. I've shown you how to restring a guitar, recommended some good strings. Once again, here they are, Elixir. Incidentally, I use the same strings for my electric guitars as well, and they just last really long. They sound fantastic, and you know, so it's a really good package. Some people don't like the feel of the coating, you know, but they've actually changed that a little bit. They've made the coating like really ultra thin, so for me it's never bothered me even when they had the thicker coating. So it just makes sense to get a string that actually lasts a long time. Alright, there we go. I hope you've learned something in this video, and I'll see you in the other lessons. Take it easy.